And we back. I know it's been a minute. I think I uploaded just one total video of 2020 so far. It's kind of weird, but I was just on a secret project to Atlanta, and I can't tell you what it is. That's the secret part. But I promise you, once that video drops, it'll be 100% worth the first week of 2020 not having a lot of consistency. But I'm here. No more trips as far as I know. So let's get into some videos. Today we're talking about the most surprising player, thing, or whatever for every NBA team. And this is based on my personal opinion. Some players on this list you probably thought was gonna boom, and I had no idea. So you got me on that one. But the comment section is there so you can tell me your most surprising players or whatever from this entire season. Be sure to leave a like on the video. I found out that about 35–40% of the people that are watching my videos are not subscribed. So if you fit that, hit the button, my guy. We talk about hoops, we play 2K, we do a lot of different things around here. All right, let's head over to the first official team. With the 76ers, the biggest surprise to me is not the fact that Ben Simmons hit 2 3-pointers this season. It's the fact that Joel Embiid and Coach Brett Brown have both come out in like different interviews and basically thrown shots at Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid said we need everybody to get out of their comfort zone, even if that means shooting shots they're not used to. You didn't say the name Ben Simmons, but who else could it be talking about? And then Brett Brown recently said in an interview that Brett Brown believes that he has failed Ben Simmons, but at the end of the day, he still needs Ben Simmons to have the confidence to take those shots. The reason that's surprising to me, because I thought that's something you do behind closed doors and not bring out to the media, but maybe the behind closed doors ain't working. So they need the whole world on Ben Simmons' back. Because obviously if Ben Simmons starts to stretch the floor, at least attempt to shoot shots outside of 10 feet, the team is so much more efficient. Like Joel Embiid sits at the three-point line a lot of the times because he's trying to change his game so Ben Simmons is comfortable, when in reality, Joel Embiid should be down low banging all the time, or most of the time at least. So it was just real surprising to see the coach and like I guess the best player on the team both take shots at their all-star point guard. The biggest surprise to me with the Bucks is that they're better this year than they were last year. The reason I say that is because, of course, they lost Malcolm Brogdon. And a lot of times last season, Malcolm Brogdon was the second best player on that team. Any team that's losing their second to third best player usually may end up being a little bit worse the next season. Now, obviously, I ain't think that the Bucks are going to come out here and be trash. But them being as good as they are right now is kind of surprising considering the fact that they lost him. And a lot of that is due to the fact that George Hill is shooting the ball ridiculously. Last year, Malcolm Brogdon was 50-40-90 club. And this year, George Hill's not 50-40-90, but he's shooting the threes and he's knocking them down at that same clip. Chris Middleton's also having a great efficiency year. So like everybody else stepped up to fill the shoes of Malcolm Brogdon being gone. And not to mention even Giannis is better this year than last year, which is scary because last year he won the MVP, and he's coming out this season. He's having an even better season than his MVP season. It's some crazy stuff. The Bulls, biggest surprise is that they suck. Like, again, I didn't think that they would come out here and be a top 2, top 3 seed, but I thought we were going to be fighting for like a bottom playoff spot, and it ain't too late. We're like 4 games out of the playoffs, but I don't see it happening just because we're doo-doo. Offensive side of the ball, if Zach LaVine is on the floor, it's like a historically bad offense. And when Zach LaVine is on the floor, it's still like the bottom 3 in the NBA right now. So the defense has been incredible. I read a stat that the Bulls defense has been second in the league since December 1st, only to the Milwaukee Bucks. So the defense is there. But Jim Boylan don't know his X's and O's on the offensive side of the ball, and because of that, it's so stagnant. We come out in second halves and we put up like 10 points in the third quarter while giving up 20. And though giving up 20 is not bad in the NBA game, you only score 10, so now you're down by 10. And in the fourth quarter, the game is pretty much over because the offense is not there. That's my mini rant. We suck. But you know what? Maybe some bright things are coming. Nope, no brightness in the future. Let's just move on to the next team. And that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's super surprising to me to see Kevin Love throw that temper tantrum he had in basically the last week or so. And today, he came out in an interview and he was like, man, I need to start acting my age. Instead of acting 13, I need to act like 32. Is that how old he is? Whatever. He needs to start acting his age. And then he had like a 35-point game for the Cavs, which is like, yeah, Kevin Love, do your thing. But I don't think I've ever seen, on the top of my head, seen a player throw a temper tantrum like he did in that game. I guess it's been 2 games now, where he was demanding the ball from Colin Sexton. He finally got it. Then he threw it past Jetty Osman. Usually, when you see players throw temper tantrums, it's like to the other team or to the refs, never really with his own team. But it's kind of weird, though, because I do feel for Kevin Love. I would love to see him go somewhere else just because, I mean, he's probably got only a few more really good years left in his NBA career, and I want to see my man compete for another championship. But then again, he signed an extension. He knew that the Cavs weren't going to be good throughout this time. He knew that. So it's like, yeah, he wanted his money, but now he wants, it's very weird territory. So let's move on to the next one, which is the Celtics. The biggest surprise to me is Jaylen Brown's offense. We knew the defense was there. He's always been a good defender since his rookie season. But the reason I say his offense is surprising is because, well, he's averaging 20+ points per game. And then we just saw the man play over the summer for Team USA, and he was averaging like 8 points per game. How do you go from 8 points per game in that thing, and then you come over here like, you know what? I'm just going to get to averaging a dub. I just did not see that happening. And when they gave him an extension, I was a bit iffy. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I didn't think he wasn't worth it, but I was thinking like, will he ever get to the point where he is worth it? You know what I'm saying? Like, he had the potential to be worth the amount of money they gave him, and now he's already starting to fill those shoes. So it was just super surprising to see him come into the season like, yeah, I'm going to take more shots, and I'm going to knock those shots down, especially since last year, a lot of the season, he was coming off the bench, and a lot of people were questioning, like, man, does this dude lack confidence and everything? Now he's about one of the most confident players on the team. The Clippers. Biggest surprise to me is after a loss recently to the Grizzlies, where they got destroyed by Jay Crowder. It was ridiculous. And it wasn't even like Kawhi wasn't playing. It was Kawhi, PG. Wait, maybe PG wasn't there. Either way, Kawhi and them got blew out by the Grizzlies. And we'll talk about the Grizzlies next. But after that, Montrezl Harrell came into an interview and he was like, man, he basically was like, we suck right now. I know everybody's saying we're a championship contender, but if we keep playing like this, we are no championship contender. And I like that. But then again, it's similar to like the first one. Do you want to say that in the media? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the Grizzlies, it's their team success so far, man. I definitely didn't think there's going to be a team that was going to be like competing for a playoff spot, especially since they have their first round pick, but it's top 6 protected, which means that if their pick is number 7 through 30, it goes to the Celtics. So I definitely thought that they were going to come into the season like, hey, Ja, hey, Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson, I want y'all to be great, but at the end of the day, we need to start losing some of these games so we keep our pick. So far, they're like, nope, we're going to compete. And again, like I mentioned, they beat the Clippers and made them look like fools. So eventually we're going to see a trade from them. I don't know if Jay Crowder will be traded, but we know Iggy's not going to be there, even though technically he's not there at all. He's just on the roster. So they're going to make a trade, which means they're probably going to bring some more pieces in so they could potentially, you know, make a run. It's so many teams out there that can make a run for the playoffs. It's beautiful basketball right now. The Hawks, the biggest surprise to me is the fact that they're trying to speed up this rebuilding process, right? There's rumors that they want to go out and get Drummond, which is I have my opinions about that, but you should watch my podcast if you want to. I was ranting for like 10 minutes about it, so watch my podcast. But it's just surprising to me that they've basically been rebuilding for like 3 years, and now they're ready to take I don't even know how to explain it, because like, of course, Trae Young is so good in his sophomore season, and he needs help. But you can get that help through the draft. And then instead of trading that Brooklyn pick and expiring deals to bring on Andre Drummond, who's going to be making a lot of money next year, how about you just continue to suck, end up with a top 4 pick, and maybe you can make a trade for an even better guy than Drummond during the offseason. You're going to have a top 5 pick. You have so many young pieces. Bruno Fernando, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Bembry, still only 24 years old. There's so many different ways you can build your team that doesn't have you putting your foot automatically on the gas right now, especially since you're basically the worst team in the league. You know what I'm saying? Getting Drummond in your team does help you. Do not get me wrong. But let's just wait and see what that pick end up being, right? The Heat, I'm going to keep it very, very simple. It is Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson, 2 players that came out of nowhere for me. I knew Kendrick Nunn, of course, being from Chicago, and he played like summer league for the Warriors. I saw that. But like Duncan Robinson, I guess he played like D3 basketball. He went from D3 basketball to being a starting player on a championship quality team. Are we saying that about the Heat? Yeah, I'll say that about the Heat. A championship quality team. It's just some crazy stories of players that I didn't know much about, but this season, I'm watching every game. The Hornets, it is P.J. Washington. Now, this is why it's surprising to me, because I don't watch much college basketball. Again, I mentioned that plenty of times on this channel. So I live streamed the 2019 NBA draft, and I was letting the fans in my chat tell me, is this pick a W or an L? And when P.J. Washington was drafted, the chat was spamming L. They were spamming L. And well, he has not been an L. I don't know if he'll ever be an all-star or superstar type of, no. He is already good enough to have a 15-year career strictly on the fact that he plays good defense and the man is so efficient on 3-pointers. That alone got my man in the league for 15 years as a quality NBA player. So has the draft been an L for them? No, he's been a very big surprise. The Jazz. It's about Mike Conley being boo-boo. You know, I know he's injured right now, and Mike Conley's one of my dudes. I even got a Mike Conley shirt from last season, and now I kind of regret buying it because he doesn't play for the Grizzlies anymore. But the reason why this is surprising to me, because there's two different things that could be going on. A, he's still trying to get used to his team. Happens all the time. A player comes to a new situation, especially a team that already has a foundation. He's trying to find himself. But there's another world where he started to regress. That's a scary thing because he's 30 plus already. And point guards, sometimes they don't have that longevity. So we could be seeing signs of Mike Conley starting to become a worse NBA player. I hope it ain't true, but it's a possibility. The Kings. Buddy Hield is not shooting 40% from three. It's basically what he's done his entire career other than his rookie season. This year, right now, at least, he's in a slump. And I don't think it's going to last forever because it's Buddy Hield, and he's consistently been a great three-point shooter throughout his NBA career. And even right now, he's not bad. He's just like average as far as percentage go. He's still attempting 10 threes a game, but his percentages are pretty average right now. I don't think it's gonna last forever, obviously, but it is surprising to watch a game and be like, man, that's a shot Buddy Hield made 1,000 times last season, and now it's just not falling. The Knicks. Was Fizdale really the problem? I always saw Fizdale as a quality coach, no matter where he was at, when he was with the Grizzlies, when he was an assistant coach for the Heat. I've always seen him as a guy that, like, hey man, I would love him to be my head coach. But since he's been fired, the Knicks haven't been terrible. They've been, what, 6-9, 6-10 or something like that? That's pretty good for a team to start off the season as bad as they were. So is Fizdale a good coach? I think it's something we really got to think about. Is he going to get another chance somewhere else to prove that he's not a bad coach? I don't know. But I guess a lot of coaches maybe they aren't ready for the New York lifestyle, the New York lights, because once you're in New York, everything is bigger. You know what I'm saying? So was Fizdale a bad coach? Is he a bad coach? I don't know, but it's a possibility. The Lakers. It's Dwight Howard's impact. When Boogie went out with his injury, I remember exactly where I was. We were at the gym. We were getting ready to run our game, and I got the update that Boogie had. I don't remember if it was a torn meniscus, ACL, whatever. I got the update that Boogie got injured. And I was with my boy Mike, who is a diehard Lakers fan. I was like, man, this sucks, obviously, for Boogie. But I asked, okay, so what's next for your team? He was like, Joakim Noah's still out there. And there's rumors that Dwight Howard is out there. And I was like, okay, cool. But how good can Dwight Howard really be right now? He's been very, very good. And it really boils down to the fact that he's playing his role. When he's played in any other place in his career, shout out to Dwight Howard, though. He's one of my favorite centers of all time. Some of you young guys may not realize how dominant he was when he was in Orlando. But after Orlando, after LA, when he was in Atlanta, he was in Charlotte, he was a guy that was like, give me my post touches, baby. I want to show my hook shot off. That's not you, Dwight. And so far with the Lakers, I haven't seen many hook shots from Dwight. He scores when he can. You know what I'm saying? He's getting rebounds and going straight up. He's not asking for touches. He's playing his role, and he's getting his NBA career. He's elongating it. Because somebody's going to look at this season, whether it be the Lakers re-signing him or some other team, but like, if we get that same Dwight, we can be a good NBA team. The Magic and his Aaron Gordon being surprisingly bad this season. Him and Jonathan Isaac were two of my picks from the Atlanta Hawks. I'm not the Atlanta Hawks, the Orlando Magic. I was like, these guys, one of these dudes is probably going to take a jump. I don't know who it was going to be. I put my money on Jonathan Isaac because that was my guy. But no, Aaron Gordon did not take a jump. He took a step back. And it could be in the situation now where, like, he just needs to change the scenery. He's been in Orlando his entire career. He's been cool, but right now, it's not really working out. A change of scenery could probably do him wonders because he has the tools to be a very, very good and impactful NBA player. And we see that a lot of the times, but, like, just ain't really working right now. The Mavericks having one of the best offenses in NBA history, it's like the biggest surprise I could think of. When I looked at this roster going into this season, I was like, yeah, they could compete for a playoff spot. I didn't think they were basically locks. And I didn't think that players will be playing as good as they were. I knew Luka was going to be good. I knew Porzingis was going to start off kind of iffy, but he's also shown that he's going to be pretty decent when he's, get back in the swing of things. I didn't expect like Maxi Kleber, Dorian Finney-Smith, Tim Hardaway Jr., Seth Curry, all these role players basically are the perfect team for your two young stars. One of the top offenses of all time. Out of nowhere. The Nets, it's a fact that Kyrie Irving ain't back, man. I feel like he should be back now, and I know there's a report like last week that he could barely raise his arm to get up a jump shot. It's like, man, this guy is super unlucky when it comes to his injuries. And when early in his injury, the Nets were fine. They were winning games here and there. But now they just like, Kyrie, we need you. Because at this point, we may mess around and fall out of the playoffs without you. So I don't know when Kyrie Irving is going to come back, but I think the whole NBA world can agree we need to see Kyrie back on the court. The Nuggets is the fact that Malik Beasley is kind of out of the rotation. Again, when I was in Atlanta yesterday, it's crazy how things go. I was just on, anyway, when I was in Atlanta yesterday, Malik Beasley did not touch the floor at all, other than to like give half-halves. He didn't take off his warm-up. And last season, he was such a big part of that team. Now, I don't know it's the fact that they're trying to trade him because they don't want to extend him and they don't want to risk injury or risk him going out there and lowering his trade stack. I don't know what it is, but the fact that he had a DNP coach's decision is crazy. The Pacers. We're going to take it back to the Paul George trade. When that Paul George trade happened, I was like, man, the Pacers got fleeced. I was wrong. Victor Oladipo developed into an all-star player, and now Sabonis is developing into another all-star caliber player. They traded their star and got 2 potential all-stars in return. Future all-stars. That's like one of the biggest W's ever, and the fact that Sabonis is really getting all-star buzz is beautiful for him and for the city. It was obviously between him and Malcolm Brogdon for the team, but I think he's probably been a little bit more consistent. I think he does deserve to be there. I would have to go through my ballot. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see me fill out like a full ballot for the all-star game. But yeah, 2 all-star caliber players for the price of Paul George. That's a W. The Pelicans. The most surprising thing for the Pelicans is the fact that we will be seeing Zion Williamson this season. Yo, I was 100% convinced that that man was not touching this NBA floor this season because it happened with Joel Embiid, it happened with Ben Simmons, it happened with Markelle Fultz. Basically, we're like some of the top players. If you get injured, you suffer a bad injury early in your season or your career, they're just gonna tell you, relax. We want you on our team for 20 years. We're not trying to rush anything. But they said Zion's coming back this month, and I could not be happier. Lonzo Ball is playing out of his mind. Brandon Ingram has been consistently in MIP conversations, and now you're going to throw Zion into the mix? It should be the fun team that we expected to have early in the season when this team got 30+ nationally televised games. The Pistons. I am so surprised they are finally blowing up this team. Drummond is all in trade talks. They're pretty confident that he will be traded by the deadline. Blake Griffin is injured, and that sucks because he just played basically his best season last year. But he's injured, and it seems like they're trying to get as many assets as they can for these guys. And the Detroit Pistons have always been a team that's like borderline mediocre, you know what I'm saying? Like 7th, 8th seed. Never put together a good enough team to really be competitive, at least as far as I can remember. And now they're like, we failed, so let's restart. And Sekou has been hooping. He bodied Tristan Thompson last night. So I'm just saying, like, it's good to see them blow it up because it's about that time. Put Derrick Rose on a contender, though. I want to see my boy get a ring. The Raptors, the player that's been surprised, it's not Pascal because I knew he could be what he is now. It's actually Fred VanVleet. I didn't know he was going to be as good as he is right now. Especially, like, think about 2 years ago. Man was basically in the G League. Same thing with Siakam, I guess. Just in the G League. And now he's playing super impactful minutes, defensive stops, game winners here and there. Definitely didn't see that coming. And when you think about it, he's only 25 years old. He's only 25 years old, so he's got a long time to go. And it's rumored that the Pistons want to offer him a contract this offseason. Listen, Freddie's going to get paid. And as a fellow Illinoisan, I'm excited for him. The Rockets, it is Ben McLemore, man. When he was drafted to the Sacramento Kings, he was basically... I don't want to throw the word bust out there because a lot of things were being weird in that Sacramento situation with Boogie and Tyreek. There was so many things going on. I don't want to say anybody was bust, but the first couple years of his NBA career, he was not good. And now he's found a role in a home in Houston. And I think somebody wrote an entire article just kind of going over this. It's a pretty good article. I wish I remember who wrote it because I love to give credit where it's due. But it basically broke down like what went through with him over. He's only 25, 26 years old. So he's only been in the league for a couple years, but the first couple years of his career wasn't that good. And a lot of people thought he was going to be out of the league because just last year he was playing like 8 minutes a game. And now he's playing 25 minutes a game for the Houston Rockets. And he's knocking down shots. He's having big games here and there. So the biggest surprise is the fact that Ben McLemore is here. And he's probably going to be here to stay at only 25 and knocking down shots at this consistency. The Spurs are under 500. This is the longest I can remember the Spurs been under 500. I mean, they're still in the playoffs right now. They're the 8th seed. But they're the 8th seed at like not a very good record. You know? And I don't know if the Spurs are the type of team to like let's just blow it up because we're going to get matched up against the Lakers, and they're not taking out the Lakers most likely. Would they be willing to blow it up? I don't know how much trade value DeMar DeRozan has, LaMarcus Aldridge has, but they have young pieces and Brent Forbes, DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker. They're like, bro, if you blew it up, you know, things can happen. I don't really know. But then again, Pop is so old. You don't want Pop coaching a tanking team. That's just not what he does. I don't know. But the fact that they're under 500 is about the most surprising thing too. With the Suns, I'm going to 2K with this one. Kelly Oubre's not an 80 overall yet, 2K. He has been incredible this season. He is everywhere on the defensive side of the ball. He's hitting all of his shots. I feel like the man is shooting 100% from the field when I'm watching him. It's like, especially when he's in that corner, you might as well add 3 to the board because Kelly Oubre has that in his bag. And like, I don't know how far he can go. In Washington, he was just a 3-and-D guy, and now he is so much more. You love to see it. I want to see this Suns team be so successful, man. I want to see them continue winning games. With the Thunder, I got to admit, I was not a believer that this team could come out and be a competitor for the playoffs. I believed in Chris Paul. Y'all know Shai Gilgeous is one of my favorite players in the league. I believed in Dennis Schroeder, but I was kind of iffy about the rest of the roster. I like Gallo, but I was iffy about him. I was about his health. I know he just had one successful season as far as no injuries. I was iffy about his health. I was iffy about Steven Adams without having Russell Westbrook there. I was iffy about the entire bench, but Nerlens Noel has been great this season for his role. Abdul has been hooping. Who else is a lot of play? Hami has been shooting the ball efficiently when he's been in the game. So I was not a believer, and I'll be the first to admit. But the fact that they're there and they're playing games, Chris Paul said another great game. Again, my favorite point guard of all time. Seeing him be successful in his old age, and then my favorite young player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I should have been a believer. I just wasn't. The Timberwolves. This is going to sound very, very, very weird. Since Karl-Anthony Towns has been injured, Gorgui Dieng has been hooping, dog. Like his defensive numbers, advanced numbers. I'm not really into advanced numbers, but I saw something on Twitter. It's basically saying he's the second best defender in the league so far. It's like, yeah, good for him. You know, he got that big old payday with the Timberwolves, and you kind of forget that before he got that payday, he was pretty good. He's a pretty good player. Never think that he was going to be an all-star or anything like that. But he just played his role very well. He defended well, and he made his shots when he took them. And now that's happening since Karl-Anthony Towns has been injured. I know they ain't winning a lot of games, but you got to take the little positives. With the Blazers, this is like the most bipolar team in the NBA right now, dog. Western Conference Finals run last year, and now they're straight. They get blown out by the Knicks, and then they beat some good teams. This is the most bipolar team in the league to me. But the most surprising thing was that they signed Melo. Melo deserved to be on the team. I just didn't expect the Trailblazers to be the one to give him a chance. And he's been thriving. He's hit a game winner last night. He hit a game winner last night. So he's been thriving. But I was just so surprised that the Trailblazers were the team to give him that contract. I'm happy he's back, man. I hope this is not just his one last season. I know this ain't no farewell tour. He said he doesn't want it to be. He wants to continue to play. I hope some other team gives him a chance because the way he's been hooping, he deserves to be in the league for a few more years. The Warriors. It's so surprising how bad their roster is. You know what I'm saying? And it's not their fault at the end of the day. They got all the injuries in the world. Klay Thompson being injured. D'Angelo Russell being injured here and there. And, of course, Steph Curry. Like, they did what they could. But a lot of the people on this roster are like G League caliber players. And they do win some games. I think they have 9 total wins in the season. They had this one period. They won like 3 out of 4. They were hooping. But, like, man, this team is super, super bad. But you got to think about, yo, when Steph Curry comes back, Klay Thompson comes back, they're going to be right back into contention. Because I don't know if D'Angelo Russell will be there, but you know he has the trade value where, like, hey, you can bring somebody in. There's rumored that Karl-Anthony Towns could be the option. I don't really know. But you know that the Warriors will be back into contention once everybody's healthy. But at this way this roster is right now, they're terrible. And lastly, it's the fact that the Wizards have like 7 injuries right now. It's like all of their good players. John Wall, Bradley Beal, Davis Bertans, Thomas Bryant. Who else has been injured? I'm missing out on some players. Mo Wagner's injured, right? They have so many injuries, so much that like they're running out players that I don't even know who they are. They got this 1-2 tall center on their team. The announcers don't even pronounce his name. They call him AP. Shout out to No Dunks. They call him AP because they don't know how to pronounce this man's name. He's actually hasn't been too bad for them either. Shout out to Gary Payton II. Happy to see him hoop. And of course, Isaiah Thomas back on the team is pretty good. All right, y'all. Those are my most surprising things about every NBA team. It feels good to be back in this room talking about hoops, especially when you get to talk about every single team. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave it a like. If you got to this point, you had to enjoy something because this is a long one. I talked quite a bit in this one, didn't I? My fault. But leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I'll be back tomorrow, and I promise this time I'll be back tomorrow. All right? Peace.